Hello and welcome back to the Shed Geek Podcast. Here's a message from our studio sponsor. Let's be real. Running a shed business today isn't just about building great sheds. The industry is changing fast. We're all feeling the squeeze, competing for fewer buyers while expectations keep climbing. And yet, I hear from many of you that you are still juggling spreadsheets, clunky software, or disconnected systems. You're spending more time managing chaos than actually growing your business. That's why I want to talk to you about our studio sponsor, ShedPro. If you're not already using them, I really think you should check them out. ShedPro combines your 3D configurator, point of sale, RTO contracts, inventory, deliveries, and dealer tools all in one platform. They even integrate cleanly into our Shed Geek marketing solutions. From website lead to final delivery, you can quote, contract, collect payment, and schedule delivery in one clean workflow. No more double entries, no more back and forth chaos. Quoting is faster, orders are cleaner. And instead of chasing down paperwork, you're actually running your business. And if you mention Shed Geek, you'll get 25% off all setup fees. Check it out at shedpro.co/ShedGeek. Thank you, ShedPro, for being our studio sponsor, and honestly, for building something that helps the industry. Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek Podcast. Thank you so much for listening in today. If you want to stay connected to the Shed Geek Podcast, check us out on our website, shedgeek.com. Message me at info at shedgeek.com. You guys feel free to be part of the industry. Go check out the different pages that exist. Social media pages that exist for our industry. If you're not already connected, Shed Sales Professionals page. There's a couple others like the Shed Manufacturers page and Shed Haulers page, where people try to stay connected and just build community. And that's what we're doing here today. We are on our fourth, not our final, but at least our fourth and final here today with our newest consultant, Peter Miller. You guys know Peter from just about everywhere. The Shed Sale Summit, Making Sales Simple. He's becoming quite the Shedlebrity. And his face just seems to be everywhere. He seems to be doing a lot of things, and I'm proud to call him a friend and a partner in what we're doing. So welcome, Peter.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here again, and it's been like a marathon.
It has.
As a podcaster, I have a lot more respect because it's not just a one and done. It's definitely something that you have to put a lot of time and effort into, and kudos to Shannon for doing this for 5+ years, or right at 5 years, I should say. And just have the opportunity to talk about something I love talking about, and that's sheds. And talking to people that we really enjoy finding out more and learning more, because as the saying goes, or at least the saying that I like to use, is the day that you stop learning is the day you die. Uh-huh. And so we want to continue to learn, and that's what we're doing here today.
So who do we have here today? We found some guy that was buying a shed and drug him in here, or what? Or is this a shed seller? What's going on here?
Well, this person has had a huge influence in my life as far as selling sheds. He's been a mentor of mine, and I want to give him the opportunity to introduce himself, but I just want to give the mic over to Hal.
Well, that was a wonderful introduction there. I do appreciate that. My name is Hal Hatcher. I've been in the shed industry for about 15 years.
Yeah. But tell me, I'm curious how did you get to know the shed industry? Is this something that you wanted to do or something you fell into?
I basically fell into it. I was very fortunate and very thankful. I was in the market to buy a shed. I had my father-in-law moving in with me. We needed a shed on the property. We were selling his house, and we went to a shed lot up on US 1 in Fort Pierce. And I just said to myself, this would be a really cool job to have. And I didn't think much more after I purchased the shed. But I was staying home, taking care of my father-in-law, who was diagnosed with dementia and Alzheimer's. And it was a very difficult part of my life. He had succumbed to it and passed away. And me and my wife talked a few months later about me getting back into the workforce. So I started the Googling searches and all that, and I did come across Superior Sheds at that time, and I sent in a resume to them, and it took them about 4 to 6 months before they actually responded to me, and they called me up and said, was I still interested in working? Did I have a job? And I said, no, I'm not working, but I would love to do an interview. I would love to see this job. In actuality, when they called me, I was mowing my yard. And the gentleman's name was Rick Mahoney. Super, super nice guy. It was a Friday afternoon, and he said, can you be here tomorrow, Saturday, to do an interview? I said to him on the phone, I said, listen, I can go in there and take a shower. I know it's 4 in the afternoon, but would you like to do it now? And he's like, oh, yeah, please. If you can make it here, get here. And what I found out later was he wanted to go home. He didn't want to stay another night overnight on the road. So, but anyways, we did a 4-hour interview, and we went out to dinner. It was about 9 at night. He stuck out his hand and said, if you want the job, it's yours.
Wow.
And that's my starting point on how I got into the shed business.
Okay. And what year was that about?
That was in 2010.
Okay.
2010. It took me approximately, after I kind of skipped there, but I went to do an interview with Alex Martins, a wonderful man. Mm-hmm. His rule was 2 things. You run this as it's your company. And I said, yes, sir. And he says, I will stop by once a year to your lot. If you see me more than that, you know something's wrong. And once a year, he would stop by, and he'd congratulate me, shake my hand. Every year, we kept making progress, financially, company-wise, also with the sheds, delivery service. Everything just fell into place. We really took off with it.
Mm-hmm. And I find that interesting. So my shed career started selling Superior Sheds as well. This would have been, I'd say, right around 2013-ish, something like that. And I had never sold a shed before in my life. I had seen them, but I'd never really had any idea about selling them. And that kind of fell into my lap. And I remember Alex Martins, who was one of the owners there at Superior Sheds. He kind of put me under his wing and was one of my mentors. And I guess something was wrong, or else he just saw how much help I needed, because he stopped by about every month at my shed lot when I first started. And he took the opportunity to say, hey, I see some potential in you, I believe, and I want to send you to one of our most successful lots. And he sent me across the state of Florida to right in the Fort Pierce, Port St. Lucie area. And I had the opportunity to sit there and learn under Hal Hatcher for a couple of days. And what he taught me, and what Alex taught me, and what Gary Boyle has taught me, those are my 3 mentors in the shed industry that shaped my sales career. And what you taught me during that time was just so crucial into the fine details, making sure you had. I remember us going out and moving sheds around, and some people may say, oh, well, it doesn't matter too much, but that first impression when somebody walks on the lot, if they see something out of place, it's something that sticks to this day about when I walk on it, even one of my own shed lots, and seeing things that it does bug me when something's not exactly the way it's supposed to be. And it's something that I would recommend to anybody out there in the shed industry. Make sure your lot looks good. Walk into it looking like a customer would look at your lot, because that first impression is huge. But that was 2013-ish, 14, something along those lines. And then how long have you been there, or how long were you there at Superior?
I was there till recently of August of last year.
Okay.
I was out for a few months prior to that for health issues, but I did come back for a little while. But you're exactly right on presentation. Just to follow up through that just a little bit, clean it out, sweep it out, and positioning. My theory on my lot was every shed had a spot on the property. And what I mean by that is that if you put a certain, to say a 12 by 24 in one spot and never sells, move it. Put it into a different location, because people weren't liking that shed for some reason. But if you move it, all of a sudden it becomes like a brand new shed again.
Right.
And you will find that you will rotate and start moving that product, and it'll go for any size.
Right.
Shed builders, if you're looking to boost efficiency and improve your truss and component production, you need to know about Ifab LLC. We've been building shop-tested, builder-approved equipment since 2011, and we specialize in reliable, durable solutions for real-world shed manufacturing. From truss presses and our adjustable jig to the precision door table, forklift building movers, and three-point building movers, Ifab equipment is designed to help small shops and large production operations run smoother. And if you haven't seen our latest truss saw system, you're missing out on some major upgrades, like an integrated stop system, pneumatically automated slider saw, integrated scrap conveyor, and a standalone elevating conveyor. These innovative options are helping shops cut faster, cleaner, and more consistently than ever. Whether you're expanding production or tightening up your workflow, we're here to help. Visit Ifab LLC to explore our machines or give us a call. Let's talk about improving your shop. Ifab LLC, simple, innovative solutions for the shed industry.
And just to comment on that, I have a lot up in Dalton, Georgia. I know you had stopped by. It's been a couple of years ago, I believe. But we have our own truck and trailer there at that location, and that's one of the things that we'll do is we'll just move inventory. It doesn't necessarily have to be a brand new shed. It just gets moved to a new location because people get familiar with how things are set up and they don't even notice it. It's almost like you're not visible to them anymore. And that was another thing taught to me from, learning from others in the shed industry that knew ahead of me, stopped me from falling into that pitfall myself and trying to make that a reality at each one of our lots.
Well, you're very fortunate to have a truck and trailer. I had to do it by jack and pipes.
Yeah.
So the small ones were easy, but those big ones, that was a chore. I had to get my delivery guy to help me with those.
That's true. And PVC pipe and floor jack was your best friend, I remember. And this is the attention to detail that I would say is just moving it just a couple inches just so that it's square with the other shed next to it so that it looks so much presentable. When we talk about some of these things in Making Sales Simple, which is a sales training program that we have, and also some of the things that we had the Shed Sales Summit up in Knoxville, Tennessee this last year. We're going to be there again coming up in September, and having people that are from the industry talking about these different things. If you're listening to this podcast right now, I recommend, if you don't have anything planned, make sure you come to the Shed Sales Summit. It's definitely very beneficial to anybody in sales. It's beneficial to those in the hauling and those in the manufacturing as well. You don't have to just be a seller. You can be in the industry because those all tie together. The one thing that we have at the Shed Sales Summit is we try to think about the topics that are top of mind and most crucial to what is affecting you, the shed dealer, and how can we address that and maybe give some advice, some help, It's kind of like what Hal has been, helped me in my career. It was somebody else saw where there's a pitfall and said, hey, you might want to walk around that, not fall in it, and it'll help you with your sales. The other thing that I wanted to point out was the mentorship part of that. And, having somebody in your life that has done, maybe it doesn't even have to be necessarily shed sales. It can be somebody who just is older, has been through those different situations, and you can talk to, and they'll be honest with you. Make sure you have a good group around you to be able to do that. The other thing I wanted to ask you, Hal, was when did you start, I guess, selling, and what was that industry that you were in when you started?
When I started selling the sheds, the industry was very slow. It wasn't fast paced. It took a while to build up. And in my training purpose, I like to tell everybody, don't expect to come running out of the gate. You have to build your clientele, and don't ever just rely on somebody walking through your door. There are a lot of people out there that you can actually call. Back in my day, it was a phone book. You just thumb through the phone book and go, hey, this funeral home down the street, I wonder if they need a shed. And
right.
Call them. Or, even a storage facility. They always need sheds.
Gas stations.
Gas stations. Just don't limit yourself, and don't have blinders.
Right.
Stay focused and just look at the world.
So, and that's something in today's modern era with digital age, we have in some of our lots where we're paying for marketing, where we have leads brought into us. So, Facebook and Instagram is so huge in today's society. People are on it almost all the time. If you look at your screen time, if anybody's on here is on Facebook and Instagram, pull up your phone, look at your screen time, and look at what apps you're on the most. And if I had to guess, it's probably going to be a social media app that you're on the most, whether Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Well, that same thing is applied to everybody in the world, basically, that is on social media. And so this is a great way to be able to get in front of those people. Be yourself, but also put yourself out there in the way that somebody is going to notice you. My business partner, Peter Boyle, has talked about it before. He'll put a Facebook post out there, and he'll always say, hey, this is Peter. And he always opens every single one of his Facebook posts or social media posts with that. And pretty soon you start starts showing up on your Facebook, and you're like, hey, that's that guy. And then you show up and that guy's there. It's like, hey, you're the celebrity that I saw on Facebook and such. So it may seem a little bit awkward, but if you can get out of your own way and be able to put yourself out there, we may not use the phone book as much, but we have other ways of doing that.
We have our online phone book
right.
nowadays. We don't have the Rolodexes anymore, do we? Like I had growing up.
Business card file.
Yeah.
Right. But there's a lot of people, I think, that still are very familiar with that in using that. If somebody hands you a business card, I mean, I've had business cards handed to me, and I've stuck it away and looked at it for months later and then actually done something with it. But most of the time, a business card is not the best way to do it. You want to have somebody be able to text and get a digital way of connecting with them, whether it's through text or whether it's through Facebook or whether it's through some sort of digital media that I've seen in our current state that we're in. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wanted to come back around a little bit, back to when I met you. Just to let you know, Alex called me, and he told me, we spoke for about an hour and a half, that you were coming over there and how I felt about training you and all that. And he was like, this guy is going to make it. He's going to do big. He's got his head on his shoulders. Hal, do everything you can to help him. And I said, you just send him over, and we'll take care of him. We'll take good care of him, and I'll show him every little thing I do. whether it was walking through the lot, even how I presentation on how I build a shed for a customer, to even after the shed was sold, and how I showed him on my book how I logged everything down to keep track of everything. Just threw everything at you, my man, to help you out. So
absolutely, and I can't say thank you enough for that. Do appreciate that. One of the things I did have a question on is you started in around 2010 in shed sales, and I'm curious. I think you had said you had done sales in another industry before that. How long were you in sales before that, and what did you do, and how similar did those tie together with the shed industry?
My actual mentor was Doug Hensley. Doug Hensley was in the furniture business. I was a 15-year-old kid who thought he knew everything in the world, but I knew nothing. And he saw a diamond in the rough. He really did. He took me in. He did an interview with me and put me on the delivery truck. That was my starting out point. And my job was to know the product. He would always quiz me, who was the manufacturer of that product? What kind of handles did they use on those drawers? What kind of braces did he put on the back of the mirror? Everything about that furniture he would quiz me on. And it didn't matter. He would call me at the house. He would pick the phone up and call me at 9 o'clock at night and say, "Hey, Hal, when you deliver that furniture, the brown one that's in the back on the back corner," and I'd have to sit there and remember, okay, but he would drill and stay with it all the way through. And about 6 months to 8 months had went by, and he handed me the keys to the store. And he said to me, "This is for a Sunday only. I'm going to open on Sundays. It's from noon to 5, and you're in charge of the store." Man, my heart was up to my throat. I was excited. I was pumped. So I had a customer come in right around 3-ish, and I sold him a twin-sized bed. My first sale that I've ever made is a twin-sized bed. It was for $89. Now, the point of me telling you about what Doug did, about wanting to know about all the procedures and how furniture was made, when I called him and said, "Hey, I made that sale," he says, "I'll be there in 10 minutes. And I was excited, but knowing what I know now, I know something was wrong. So when he got to the store, he looked at the sales order. He shook his head up and down at me. "Okay, all right, you made a sale, okay." He says, "Follow me." So I said, all right. And we went to the back where the beds were lined up, and there's prices above each bed from a twin, full, queen, king.
Yeah.
He says, "Which bed did you sell?" And I showed him the bed. He said, "Okay." He says, "What's that sale sign say?" I said, "It says $89. He goes, "Read right next to it." It says $89 each piece. Sold his bed for $89.
Oh, man.
He goes, "You read it, right?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And he goes, "You won't make that mistake again, right?" And I said, "No, sir." He said, "Lesson learned, I'll eat that $89. That was a really good, and that taught me right there.
Yeah.
Pay attention to everything.
Detail.
Details.
Oh no!
Sam, what's going on? Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine, Lisa. I was just trying to get a screwdriver and all this other stuff fell down. I'm ready to go buy a shed so we can have some space in this garage again.
I agree. I keep looking at the shed Mr. Jenkins bought. Let's ask him where I got his.
Howdy, neighbor. We're wondering, how do you like your shed?
I love it. It's exactly what I needed, and I couldn't have asked for better service.
And where did you get it?
I can't remember, but let me check. Something this nice will probably have the builder's name on it somewhere. No, I'm sorry. I can't find a name anywhere.
Well, we finally got a shed.
Yes, I just hope we're happy. The thing is a lot more shoddy than I expected, and I'm sure I told them I wanted a window, but they didn't have it in the paperwork, so I couldn't argue. Boy, is this a lousy shed. We haven't even had it 2 years, have we?
Barely. It was just a bad deal all the way around. Mr. Jenkins told me the other day that he likes his shed so much he wants to get a second one, but he still can't remember where he got it.
Your product is your best advertising. At Identigrow, we provide nameplates that ensure your quality products are never forgotten. Identify your products, grow your business. For more information, visit Identigrow.com.
Or give them a call at 540-283-9193.
And you know, I think about that. We had another podcast we were on just yesterday, and we were talking about leadership. And you know, as a business owner now, and having shed lots and employees that are working for me, I want to make sure that I provide that leadership. And I think about those different things, and I guess it strikes me a little bit different. Is how as a leader, you know, you take a sales position and you're working in your business and you're selling. Your main focus is selling, and then you get transitioned into that next step up of where you have more people relying on you in the sales side of things. And so I would say it's a big step to jump from there, but the information that I learned in the sales side of, I guess, reading and understanding people from different points of view and how they're looking at different things, I want to make sure, and this is just a self-critique, I guess, that I'm leading properly those that rely so much on me. And it goes back to mentorship. It goes back to, you know, having the right people around you. And that's why I'm really excited, too, about like Shed Geek Consulting, where we have the opportunity to be able to consult those. And I'm not saying I have everything figured out. I know I don't. But what I can do is I can present you with the information that I do know, and I know that the rest of the team, these guys have got a great opportunity, and I am thankful, so very thankful for those that invested into me, and I want to invest back into those that are around me.
Well, it's come full circle for you guys here today, talking about whenever you started and how it was mentoring you, and he talks about how he had a mentor, and I promise his mentor had a mentor, and that's what we do. And for you to be that to somebody else, that's the opportunity that exists as the you know, everything unwinds here. You get an opportunity to teach those that you've things that you've learned. And I listened to stories even before you guys got started here that you were discussing. And those are I always say the best podcasts are the ones you never hear. Mm-hmm. Once it gets recorded, it almost feels formal. Mm-hmm. But natural conversation is the things I hope to capture best. And you were talking while we were going to lunch, and Hal was here waiting on us. We got back, and we were talking about hanging a sign on the door. One of the first things he taught you, you know, hang a sign on the door, tell them you're going to lunch.
But have a time that you're going to be back. Don't just say be back.
Yeah.
That is one thing. I don't like leaving a door or like leaving for lunch, but I know that there's sometimes, well, if you're not busy and you want to get busy, put a sign that you're back to lunch, and you'll have 5
Give
people.
them a reason to come back.
Right. Well, that was that we were talking about that earlier, and that was something I learned from Hal as well. And I guess this is what you would say the tips and tricks is somebody had come to the lot while we were gone, and I'll just let you explain kind of what you would do there.
Well, what I would do is if I had to leave the lot, I would always make sure the number was clear so they can see it and my name, and tell them that I'll be back in 30 minutes or 2:30 or 3 o'clock, whatever it was. If I missed you, call me, and I promise you, I'm going to give you a 5% discount. I will take very good care of you. Mm-hmm. Normally, I was only gone for 20 or 30 minutes, whether it was to the bank or just to go grab a sandwich or anything like that. But, mm-hmm. And, you know, it's not necessarily, sometimes they would wait in the parking lot and I came back, or by the end of the day, I get a phone call and say, hey, I was there around lunchtime. You weren't there. I was on lunch too, and I wanted to come by. Will you still honor your 5%? I said, you come by whenever you're ready, and I promise you I will honor that. Just give me your name and number. That way I know who I talked to.
Right.
And that way when they got here and they said, hey, Joe Doe, and here I am. And I was like, yeah, we talked. And I documented everything.
Right.
Everything there was always a notepad on my desk, names and numbers.
Yes.
So it's very important to remember that, who you talk to.
And that was one of the things that between you and Alex, who had taught me, is, this was before CRMs and computers. Like we didn't have 3D configurators like we do. And most shed lots have a 3D configurator. You're designing something, flipping it around, showing the customer. But this is how I was taught. You had a regular notebook that you could, a spiral bound notebook. You would take the top half, you would put the customer's name first off. You find out the name, you write down the phone number, and then you would start your process of, maybe if you've been out on the lot showing them the different sheds or different things, you're finding out information as you're walking down the shed lot. You're, maybe they're newly married and they just moved in and they need to put all their stuff in a shed. Okay, you're building that relationship with that person, and you're gathering all this information and using it to help you sell that shed, because you're building the relationship. You're making sure that they're getting the correct thing, because we never wanted to push anybody into something they didn't want. But building that relationship, we'd go back into the shed lot. You used a word earlier. You said if they were agreeing with you, it was your war room whenever you walked back into the shed lot.
Right. And it's very important to know, because I know some salespeople, they get a little pushy and they'll push on certain things. And if the customer's not biting on it, stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Listen to what they're saying to you. And if you do that, maybe it's not a shed on the lot, but it's one that you can build. That's what you're building. You're building your client list. It's nice to have, I had 45 sheds on my lot. It was great if I could sell 45 in one day, but that's not reality. You can't have every size, every color, every door, every way that somebody wants.
Right.
So also to just make a little bit finer detail on your book, if you put the date at the top, and when you draw all it out and the customer is just not ready to buy at that moment, they whip out their cell phone and take a picture of it. And I always put my card down at the bottom, so they have my name, my number on a photograph, instead of handing them a card. Mm-hmm. And that card usually winds up in my parking lot because I'm picking it up off the floor.
Yeah.
So they have that, So, and you'd be surprised, they'll be calling you right back within a day or two. Hey, you going to be there? You're not out to lunch? No, you don't get an extra 5% discount. Come on in. So
they're double dipping or trying to.
They're trying to.
Yeah. No, I you say that, and I do remember that was one of the things that you had talked about, was putting that card on there to get the picture of. It's kind of interesting. You go back, what has it been, 10, 11 years now? Well, more than that, like 13, close to 13 years. And some of the stuff, it just clicks again as you're sitting there and rehashing it. And that's what I like about the podcast and listening to the different people's stories and talking, because we can relate so much in this shed industry where what is the main thing that you hear? Oh, I'll be back. Well, how many times have you heard that? And I guess that would be a great, point to just ask you. You had so many customers and they said, I'll be back. What was your process, and what would you do with that kind of a customer? What was your, your process after that?
Well, back from the old school part of it, the process was, once it was written up, if I was building it, now going back now, because we didn't have all the technology that you described a little while ago, everything was done through a fax machine. Mm-hmm. And at the plant where they process and build the buildings at, they might get 5, 6, 7, 10 orders in one time on the fax machine, and it was guaranteed it was getting mixed up with somebody else. So my point is back to the old school, was follow up. You got to follow up on everything. Whoever you designate to call, make sure, hey, is this door 2 foot off the corner like I described in my paperwork? Is it the right color? Is it the right size? Just all the little details. Because that's what the customer was telling me they wanted. So, and they're looking for that when the shed arrives to their house as a finished product.
Right. So when you would have a customer come in, and I know we would have that process, we would go out, and this was kind of that sales cycle that we would go through, starting with them walking in the door, greeting them, maybe even on the lot, depending on where that was, if you had a customer already, showing them the product, showing them different sizes, listening to their needs, filling all in the blanks basically at that point. You got working around the circle, and you're doing that assumptive, they're getting yes, 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 all the way around to the point where they sit down in your office and you draw it out, and you've shown it on their yard. They're starting to get ownership in their mind of where this is going. You ask them, hey, here's the street where you said you lived. Here's the house. Where in this backyard? You turn the notebook around and you hand them the pen. Say, where is it that it is exactly that you want this shed to be? And they draw the little square in the corner where it is. And, all right, where's the doors going to be on this side? Right. And you're doing that, and they've gotten to that point. And let's just say the wife is over there and she's not having any of this.
Been there.
And you get to that point, and you assume that close. All right, so we have this. Are you paying with cash, check, or card? And they say, well, I just want to think about. I want to think about it. That's the wife gives the little nudge to the husband, and I'm throwing the wife under that. So let's switch this around. The wife's all on board, and the husband's kind of like, well, I just kind of looking around and whatever. I know the follow up comes on that, but how did you overcome that if you could get that sale closed?
Well, to overcome your obstacles, first remember, you got to listen to overcome them. And to take your scenario, just for argument's sake, the wife is not on board, the husband's all ready, he's all psyched, and he's ready to do this. My overcome was, guys don't care about colors. I would turn to the wife and go, what would look really good sitting in your backyard? Because you're going to be looking out your kitchen window and at this thing. Sometimes it might not be colors. Maybe it's the garage door. They don't want to look at a garage door, or some type of feature that's on the building. Maybe she would prefer to have 2 windows. And I was tell the guy, hey, if you put a couple of window boxes on there and put some flowers on it, it would look really nice, And then if you got her to lower her shoulders down, or him, either way, then you knew you had something going. Now, sometimes it might not be the structure. Maybe the wife is in charge of the financial part of it, and now she's really not happy about spending X amount, okay? At that moment, I might look side to side and go, hey, listen, I was out to lunch, and I usually leave a little note on the door, but you're here. If I took 5% off right now, would you go ahead and buy it? And they look at me and go, yeah, let's do it. Or I'd say, hey, listen, you two need to talk, because I had a small office. I'll step out the door. I don't smoke, but I'll pretend I smoke. You guys can talk. I'll come back in. Just tell me when you're ready. And I'd come back in, and they would say, 90% of the time, let's do the deal. How much down? Or they might say, give me a day or two. That's when you have your notebook right on your side. Everything's drawn out. Everything's itemized. Everything is right there, black and white. You even have the colors down. And you give them a day or two.
Yeah.
And then you call them up and say, listen, I'm just following up. Just want to see before that. You don't say it out loud, but before that fire goes out, you want to see if you can get them sparked and get them ready. He might have went home and measured, for all you know.
Right.
He's thinking, how can I get this in my yard? What can I convince my wife? So
he wants his man cave.
He wants his man cave. So, and that's a few of the traits that I learned over the years.
Hello, shed builders. I'd like to grab your attention for just a moment. As we look ahead, one thing is clear. Customers will have higher expectations than ever before. Shed consumers have an unprecedented access to information. To stay competitive, you need to create sheds that are not only high in quality, but also rich in innovation. You might recall my friend Dan Ream, one of my early podcast guests, who introduced Solar Blaster fans, specifically the Solar Roof Blaster. Dan has been busy handling orders, and he's eager to speak directly to shed builders about his groundbreaking products. What stands out to me about Dan's products designed specifically for sheds, like the Solar Roof Blaster and the Solar Light Blaster, is how they enhance the shed owner's experience. With the focus on quality, it's time to start thinking about adding features and benefits for the end user. Here at Shed Geek, we wholeheartedly recommend Solar Blaster as the solution. My favorite thing about the entire line of products? The support you'll receive from Dan. Not only is he incredibly knowledgeable about these products, but he's also one of the most customer-focused individuals I know. He truly stands behind both his product and his service. We're searching for companies ready to elevate customer satisfaction to the next level. To learn more, just visit solarblasterfans.com and fill out some basic information for a callback, or connect directly at 480-747-7097. You can also check out the Shed Geek newsletter, where a click on the Solar Blaster ad will guide you to a form for more information and some cool videos showcasing the products. Let's power up innovation and elevate customer experiences together.
One of the things you mentioned in there, I don't know because I'm not a body language expert, but one of the things you said, if you get to their shoulders to drop, when you're saying that, was that an actual, you get your shoulders drop, like a body language movement that you would be looking for? And I just, if that's your experience, I'm curious because this is something that interests me.
Yes, that is 100%. People will express themselves, whether it's gestures with hands, whether they'll just sit there real quiet, roll their eyes, even get up and she's tapping her foot at the door. You know, that's happened. It does happen. It's very important. Just get basic information. You don't have to push, because if you're pushing, you guarantee you'll never get they won't even answer the phone. Just say, if there's anything I can do, help, facilitate, and get you to get the shed, let me know. Maybe it was a concern about the size, you know, how much stuff, because I've always tell people when they come in, I am totally clueless on what size you need. I don't know how much stuff you have. You know that. And how much room you have on the lot. I can help you face the doors. I can help you tell you what, if you have a riding lawnmower, a swing door is not going to work for you unless you have doubles. You know, so things like that I can help you with. The other part, I'm trying to get that, draw that information out of you. And sometimes that could be difficult because they don't know.
Right.
You know, they can say, "Oh, I got a garage, or I got two garage, or I got a back bedroom, or I just got stuff laying in my yard."
Just want to clean it up, make it look good.
Right.
Yeah, I've gone through that aspect of it, and I would say, listening, like you said, listening to that customer and finding out what their pain points are. And then I say, we're not, we're a shed lot, we sell sheds, but we're problem solvers.
That's right.
They're coming here with a problem, and we want to be able to solve it. And it's just happens to be storage. If that's maybe a shed, maybe it's a building, maybe it's just a carport or RV port if they have an RV. And I've always said this too, like when they walk through that door, they're looking at the person sitting in that chair or standing in that doorway as they should be an expert. And I think that goes back to product knowledge and understanding. And I think that was interesting that I think you said was it Doug Henley or was
Doug Hensley? Yeah, at the furniture store.
Yeah, he was one to quiz you on that and find out, that you knew what you were talking about. Saying and I'm not sure doesn't build any confidence that you know what you're talking about. You don't want to be a know-it-all, but you also want to be professional at it.
That is correct. You got to be a professional. And one of his other sayings was, If you can't change the person, we'll change the job. So, the job has to fit the person.
Yeah.
And you can tell if you give somebody just a little bit of a leeway, let them run with it a little bit, see where they're going, their thought process, their mind, how they're working. You can critique them and push them in the right way, or maybe they're just not the right person. Hey, maybe you're better on a delivery truck, or maybe you're better over here, or, and push them away from that aspect and find somebody who can do that.
Right.
I love the body language aspect that you guys were talking about, because I like to use the phrase that words are the best thing we've found to communicate, and words just don't always get the job done. Body language is another. You're using all the senses that you have, sight, sound, all of them to try and sell. And like, body language is a huge indicator of what's happening. Nodding your head,
Yes.
folding your arms, leaning forward, leaning back, like trying to take all of the etiquette that somebody is giving you through their body language gives you information on which direction to start to steer the conversation. Oh, they're not liking this at all. Right. I'm going to go a different route. I remember getting sold, a car, and the car salesman really stuck with me, because like, we went in and we were like young and we had a budget, and that was it. And that's what we were going to spend, and we weren't going to spend no more, and obviously they, want to upsell, right. And I think this was literally $15 more per month than what we said we could afford. And it was kind of like, well, if you can afford this, go just a little over to get you, you're almost uncomfortable. And we just stuck with it. And I never will forget, we really wanted this one car. And we were just struggling to say, can we afford it? Can we do it? And he said, let me give you a look at this other car. I think this is going to fit what you guys are looking for. And it really did. It was perfect. It saved us money, saved us more than the $15. It actually came in under budget. And he worked really hard to make sure we got what we needed. He did not focus on just trying to move us into a quick, easy paycheck. He just really focused on, like, we were saying, hey, we're extremely budget cautious.
Right.
That's just where we were. Using all of the information people are giving you. I mean, obviously, smiling when I see the more expensive car, probably like it better, has better features, this, that, and another. Frowning as you realize that I have to take not the one I want, but the one I need. And so then he focused on the features and benefits. I remember he used to send us a card, he did all the things, that was right. And you just learn to appreciate that. Matter of fact, you'll tell other people about that, and referrals are the hottest source of another sale.
Yes.
Exactly right. Yeah, referrals is big time. That was one of my key factors, was referrals, because we did very little advertising. But I'd always get somebody, hey, John Little just came and bought a shed 2 months ago from you, and he recommended, I saw the shed, and which one did he get, and that was always a great icebreaker. Always. I enjoy listening to people who come back and said, hey, that guy really loves his shed, and it makes a world of difference.
They were your advertisement for you.
Exactly, and it made me feel good inside, knowing that somebody came back and said, hey, this guy really likes your shed, he liked you, and you were great, spot on. You didn't tell him what he needed. I would explain to him. Just to give you an example. Most guys were looking at it, and they see a shed with a 48-inch swing door. And I'd always ask, well, what's the biggest thing going through this door? And if they said a riding lawnmower, I said, listen, I'll sell whatever you want. It doesn't bother me. But you know what? How big is that lawnmower? If it's a 48-inch, you're not going through a 46-inch door.
Right.
Or here's the other thing I like to say. That door has a threshold. And the weight of a man in that mower is eventually going to beat that threshold to death. You're going to wind up with leaks and everything else. You know what? For a couple $100 difference here, you can get a 5-foot roll-up door. Mm-hmm. Now your floor's been beefed up.
Right.
You got, maybe possibly a diamond plate or, whatever else is the floor of the shed comes with. that is your selling point that you show them. And if you make sense to the person,
Right.
that person will agree with you and go, you're exactly right. Let's get the roll up door. And that's how, just back to that listening aspect.
You're selling value. You're not even selling the shed.
Not even
When you start selling the value, it's the same as the conversation we were having the other day about, well, did you hear about this? This process cost, $2,000 a month or $20,000 a month or whatever it is. No one's afraid to spend $2,000 a month if the ROI is there.
Right.
If it's going to come back, $20,000 a month is like, like I can't afford that. But if you're going to sell $40,000 a month, you'll spend 20 every day. It's really comes down to like showing people the value and selling the value and not selling the actual shed or the actual carport. It's like, what am I selling you that's helping solve your problem? Because they're not thinking, like everyone's thinking price conscious. I'm getting ready to write my newest SBJ column.
Yes.
And one thing I put in there is like, no one ever says, give me less quality. People always say, give me less price. Right. You'll never have somebody come back and say, I would like for you to take some of the stuff off, but I'd still like to pay full price for that. They want, like, yeah, I'll keep everything on there, but I would like to pay less because people are always thinking first. So you've got to overcome the obstacle first of getting them out of their head about cost. And like the way to do that is to focus on the value. And maybe the value might not be in the shed itself specifically, but the problem it's going to solve is, the words, it's expensive, always get me. Well, I don't know if I can afford that because it's expensive. And I always like to say compared to what? Mm-hmm. Compared to what helps me get an understanding of what you're looking at. So it's expensive compared to what? What are you putting in it? Putting in my new Harley. Is your Harley out in the weather right now? It is. And I'm like, sounds more expensive to not have a shed or to not have a cover for it, whether it's a shed or not, and I can sell it to you. It sounds like you need to get that thing indoors so the rain don't mess with it, or your mower's sitting out there, or whatever it is that I'm trying to protect old photos because, I just use it, or my Christmas ornaments. Well, you can get rid of all of them and buy them back next year, I suppose. But like, what makes more sense? I don't want you to make a bad financial decision. I want you to make a good financial decision.
Right.
In essence, you're consulting with them.
It's all we really do.
Yeah.
It feels like, you're walking them through the process. You're just there to aid in what the solution is for their problem.
That worked really good for covers for boats. The boats are expensive.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I mean, the happiest 2 days you have of the boat is the day you bought it and the day you sell it. But in between those days, it's out in the weather and the sun's beating on it. Now all the padding and all the felt and all that goes bad.
Your electronics.
T-tops, electronics, So you bought a cover for it. You protected it. You're protecting your investment that you purchased.
I always heard people say BOAT, B-O-A-T, stands for bust out another 1,000.
Well, we're saying things. My dad always said boat was a hole in the water you threw money into.
Yeah. Well, it is one of those things where water does more damage to mechanical things than just about anything.
Right.
That over time, water over time, cuts through rock. Like, water over time does a lot of damage to grease and fittings and things like that. So yeah, you got to, and then like the sun beating down on your, hey, we were waiting for a train all day.
Yeah,
and we finally got it.
One of them.
But yeah, it just, protecting your investment. The sun's doing its damage.
Right.
The water's doing its damage. Like, what expensive compared to what? Not to be a bad salesperson, a pushy salesperson, or a smart aleck, but to just be like, well, help me understand it's expensive compared to what, because it sounds like you're budget conscious, and that's fine. Well, let's get you in a solution that's budget friendly then.
Right. It's going to meet the goal.
Yeah.
Of taking care of your boat or your boat, motorcycle, whatever it is you got.
So I guess I would have a question. I know we're running on time here, pretty close, but is there anything? All right, I know you had the opportunity to mentor me, but if you were sitting there and facing the shed industry, and there's somebody out there new into it, or maybe been there a while, what would be one or two things that you would say are the most important for them to make sure that they're doing, or if they haven't done it, to start doing it?
I got a big day tomorrow. I have a fully finished 18 by 40 cabin that's going to require 2 to 3 mules to get it delivered. Way back in the sticks and down a dirt lane. With all the rain we've had lately, it's going to be a mess. But it needs a bigger mule.
Well, when you talk, Cardinal listens, and you asked for it. With its diesel-powered 69-horse engine and capacity to move 40,000-pound sheds, the Mule 9069 is ready to turn your big days into just another day in the good life.
Ah, that's right. You're talking about the one they had up in Michigan at the shed show. That monster mule, that thing was awesome.
That's right. It's the one you've seen at all the shed hauler barbecues.
Man, yeah, there's nothing like a little diesel donkey to make my day go so much better.
Wow, put on the spot.
Oh,
Let's see. It's okay.
He's going to call this one in. Let me
that
get back.
number? I'm
Let me
looking
get
at my
back to you.
phone now.
I'll get back to you on that.
Well, don't think you know everything. Just learn your product, and just like we said before, just listen to your customer. Don't get ahead of yourself. Just stay true to yourself.
Yeah.
And everything else will work out just fine, is really what I can say. And if you say you're going to do something, do it.
Right.
There's nothing worse in the world if you tell somebody something and they come back and say, hey, what happened? And you didn't follow up through it. That will kill more sales. That will not get the word of mouth out. In fact, it will be the opposite effect. They will badmouth you. You don't want that. If you say something, follow it.
Yeah.
And that's even to the veterans.
Yeah.
Because veterans get complacent sometimes or get boxed into their own world and forget, because it gets to be the repetition stays the same and they don't get out of their comfort. One of the big things I like to do, as far as not ever showing pressure on anybody, yes, I want to make a sale. I'm a salesman, okay? I want to make the sale, okay? I think of it, how do I want that salesman to treat me? So I would always go out, if there was somebody on the property, I walk by them, say, hey, guys, I'll be with you in just a minute. I have to do one thing for a customer, which is, whatever. And I go over to the shed, do whatever, come back and say, hey, my name's Hal. Did you have any questions? Any concerns? How can I help you? And let them walk into it a little bit. And sometimes I'd step back and go, there's a shed that you described. If you want to go take a look, I got to go make a quick phone call to somebody. I'll be right back. And I will walk up to the door, walk inside, look out the window at them, but they can't see me. Wait a few seconds. Then I walk back out there, hey, I'm back, guys. What'd you think? And show enthusiasm.
Yeah.
If you just walk out there and go, yeah, we got 8x8s over here, they're going to get in their car and never get into your office.
Yeah.
So
selling with purpose there.
Selling with purpose, selling with stride. Be proud and just take initiative on it. Everything else will be good.
Yeah.
Good advice. I can see why this has come full circle for you, not only in your consultation effort, but in making sales simple, the Shed Sales Summit, all the shed lots that you own, and like just the impact that you've begun to have on the industries. You've, been hungry to grow and learn, and you see where the mentorship comes from, and then you see it come full circle. And it's really the historical aspect of it is like super important, because like, it shows you why. It shows your why behind what you're doing. From the summit to training to consultation, whatever it is, it shows the why. So then if people question like your motive,
right,
it's really easy to understand, and understand like the historical facts as to how you got here, why you got here, who helped get you here. And like, I think, their success, the success of those before them, and the success of you and those that you want to be successful for and help be successful. So we'll try to use successful one more time in that sentence. But no, I think it's great. It's really nice to meet you. And like, I've heard about you obviously from Peter, and just can't say thank you enough, because I might have got in, I don't know, 12 years or so ago, but like I always like to tell people who've been in it before us, like you got us here. You gave us an opportunity to get here where we are. So we always say thank you for those that have been around for a long time, educating and just doing what they do, not knowing that was going to land them on a podcast one day.
Would never thought that.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Well, then, I guess with that, we'll close out.
We'll wrap it up. I tell you what, it's been fun. It's been a fun couple of days. Always nice seeing you, and we talk a lot as it is, but to see, each other in person and spend some time together and be here in Florida. And you've been so kind and gracious to us, and looking forward to talking to a couple other people. Yeah. See Mr. Mosier tomorrow. We're right here in Lakeland, so it'll be close to. So it'll be excellent to talk with him, and then go up and see Nelson's buildings. My buddies Tristan and his crew over there. It's been probably 3-4 years since we've been down there, so excited to see what they're up to. And thank you guys for listening. It means more than anything to us that you'd take the time out of your day to listen to us as if we have something to say. So we try to have guests on like Hal and others that you listen to be able to like share in their good fortune and entertainment value for you, and really just give you something while you're driving down the road or sitting in your office where you don't feel so alone, and you feel connected to the industry in that way.
That's right.
So
well,
thank you, Hal.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. And I hope to come back again one day.
Yeah, sounds great.
Awesome.
Thanks again, Shed Pro, for being the Shed Geeks studio sponsor. If you need any more information about Shed Pro or about Shed Geek, just reach out. You can reach us by email at info@shedgeek.com, or just go to our website, www.shedgeek.com, and submit a form with your information, and we'll be in contact right away. Thank you again for listening, as always, to today's episode of the Shed Geek Podcast. Thank you, and have a blessed day.